we have due in this camp 88 players, and 19 of those are seniors in their final season. And so that number changes a little bit as some seniors sometimes can come back for an additional season, but we've got 19 in their final season. And we met with those guys. We've had many of them in during the summer, of course, through the off season. Great group of guys, great leaders, and their time is due. They're ready to carry this thing, lead it. We're putting a lot of it on their shoulders. Some of them are very experienced on the field. Some are a little less so, but they're ready to do this. And in the middle there, we've got our returning sophomore and junior classes, and then we've got 34 rookies, which really would be freshmen with a transfer student mixed in there. And so that's really how the team is going to be comprised this year. A couple things. Let me get to some logistics because they've been asked. Okay, this is for game day. Home game family passes will be provided. They're going to be provided in the first home game, the Butler game on September 8th. Simply come to the will call booth and you'll get your pass for that game and for the season. And if you don't come to that game, but you come the following game, which is the 24th of September against St. X, then you sign in, you get your family pass for the remainder of the season, and keep it. Does that make sense how that's going to be? They decided and determined, right now they're printing all the passes for the fall sports. It's probably with the print shop within a day or two. If we had them today, we provide them to you, and then do this procedure with whoever wasn't at this meeting. But here's what the procedure is. When you come, go to will call, you'll have a family pass for home games. Away games, there's no passes provided by our opponents. That's a league rule, league practice. And get a lot of questions about the first game. So Barry, you may have addressed that. And, the best information I'd say is for that opening game at Indiana Wesleyan, go online and purchase your tickets. You can stand in line the night of. They've told us they're not going to stop selling tickets. It's general admission. As many people who can fit in there, they're never going to stop selling them. Okay, but I would ask this, if you would do that and not have your sons try to figure it out. And I don't think you do that, but don't even get them wondering what's going on Thursday, Friday of that week. Their minds are going to be on that game. Their minds are going to be in the first week of classes. And you have this opportunity to get your tickets ahead of time, either online or that night, afternoon if you go there, then you could be standing in a line for a while. So that's how that is. They've not provided us a lot of other direction, but I think through what we talked over this morning, Barry, if you go online, you'll see the answers there. A couple calendar items, and Adam, you'll be next. And I'm going to go through these. You might write some notes, and I'm going to share them. They'll come out on the Tough website. But here are a couple key dates. Our team scrimmage during training camp will occur Thursday, the 23rd at 7 o'clock p.m. It will be an inter-squad scrimmage. It's a practice and scrimmage preparation for us. It's not against another opponent. We like to place that midweek so that we're not dealing with the Saturday scrimmage and the following week Saturday game. It gives us a couple days in between there, a couple additional days, not just for preparation on the first game, but just for coming out of that game and getting our guys' legs back and getting their health where it belongs coming out of camp. Of course, our opening dates on the road, September 1st. Our first travel roster date, okay? So let me put a distinction. When we play in Indiana, which this year is one time, we take the entire team. Okay, next year it'll be multiple times. We take everybody on an Indiana trip. When we go out overnight and stay in a hotel, and we take a roster size of 60 guys. And we determine that on Tuesdays. Okay, so sometimes a player may want to know on Monday. We determine it on Tuesday, and it's subject to change on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the health of a particular unit. Defensive backs, wideouts, O-line, D-line. So our target is 60 players on the travel roster. Our first road trip as such is going to be September 15th. So that'll be the first time we'll narrow it down to 60 men on the Tuesday leading into that game. Our bye week, so no game, is going to be the 22nd of September. And what we do, give you kind of a heads up, and players a heads up. We will have our guys with us, all players with us through Friday or Saturday to be determined at a later time. In other words, their bye week, they're going to have Saturday afternoon off. We may bring them in for a Saturday morning practice, but we're going to target being complete on Friday. And if that's the rhythm of that week and the rhythm of our preparation, then they've got Saturday off. The true, that true whole bye week. But that just gives you some idea. They won't be available on a Thursday or earlier. They'll be in class through that Friday, and then we'll either do a lift or practice on that Friday as determined. 2 more dates I'm going to give you. Fall break, and we're going to be on the road. And fall break occurs on a Thursday through a Monday, October 19th through 21st. And that's really for all students. They've got a fall break with football players. We are going to have our team together through Thursday's practice. And then after that practice, it gets to that 60-man roster who's preparing to travel the next day. And the rest of the roster is going to be available to either remain on campus or return home. I mean, that's the reality of it. But to return again on Monday when we're back into team functions. So kind of a lot of information to understand all at one time. But through Tough and through the website, we'll roll that out. Your players are going to know it and understand it well, depending on how they kind of process the information. But those are some of the up-and-coming dates and kind of the rhythm to those. Make the distinction between fall break, where there's no classes, and bye week would be where there's no game. Last one will be Senior Day. Our final home game is on Saturday, November 3rd. And seniors will be honored on that day pregame. Parents will be introduced. There'll be information about that sequence and what takes place with that. There'll be a mom's brunch that morning. It'll be like a 10:30 mid-morning brunch. You'll get information on that. Any moms, senior moms, all moms would be, and grandmothers would be available or be welcome and invited to that lunch. And then following that, there'll be a Tough senior banquet that'll kind of, in some respect, commemorate the seniors' final season, but we've got more football to play after that. And so every other year, sometimes it's a final home game, which happens to be a 10th game. Other years, it could be the 9th game. And it fluctuates, and actually, in some ways, I like it when there's another game to play, because it sort of puts into the context for those guys how near the finish is and how much impact they can have in that following game and thereafter. But thank you for your support. I got to say this finally, too. I thought there's a lot of grandparents, whether they're in this meeting or not, or drove in with you, and they're going to be in on Saturdays. There's a lot of grandparents who are involved. And, it kind of began with them, I suppose. But I want to extend thanks to them and a welcome to them and their participation, with our team and your sons. No doubt, we've seen a lot of those grandparents on recruiting trips in. We've seen them when we've gone out, mostly the statewide guys. If we've signed you, they're at the high school. So this invitation and this welcome is extended to grandparents, siblings, and certainly aunts and uncles as well. So thank you for your support.